Hello. Sorry, it's been a few days since I've done video on this course. Eugenics is Back. Using Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. Very important book. That's why it's part of my permanent collection. I'm on this app called PayHip, and I'm putting a lot of material up there. Classes. I'm putting my scripts up there for sale. And I really like the ease with which I can put my classes up. They give you a free store. They just take more of a percentage of what you sell. I don't mind that. And I'm pushing a lot of my material through there. And I'm glad I found out. It was in one of my streams and I did some research on it. It's good. British site, I do well with British sites. Novelia gives me a few dollars here and there for stories I put up there. So I've been really pushing that, but I did not forget. So let's get into this, because this eugenics thing is a problem. The return of it is a problem. And in this country, in the United States, who always suffers the most. So let's get into it. All right. It is not surprising that the conservative National Review praises the Baltimore experiment, declaring better a prophylactic than an abortion, as if these were the only two options for black girls. But so did the New York Times and Philadelphia Inquirer. The latter suggested in an infamous December 12, 1990 editorial that black women be paid to have Norplant implanted in order to reduce the underclass. Can contraception reduce the underclass? Two stories from yesterday's newspaper. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approves a contraceptive that can keep women from getting pregnant for 5 years. A research organization reports that nearly half the nation's children are living in poverty, and that the younger the child, the more likely he or she is to be living with a single mother on welfare. Growing numbers of them will not succeed, the study's authors say. As we read those two stories, we ask ourselves, dare we mention them in the same breath? To do so might be considered deplorable, insensitive, perhaps raising the specter of eugenics. But it would be worse to avoid drawing the logical conclusion that foolproof contraception could be invaluable in breaking the cycle of inner city poverty, one of America's greatest challenges. Without proof, the editorial went on to link teen pregnancy and black poverty in a causal relationship, averring the main reason more black children are living in poverty is that people having the most children are the ones least capable of supporting them. More black children are living in poverty, but the black teen pregnancy rate is falling, not rising. So it can not be the key impetus behind the surge in black poverty. In fact, poverty precedes pregnancy. The teen mothers are already poor, and children who are poor are at higher risk for precocious pregnancy. Now, what I learned my last time in the shelter 2-3 years ago, and dropping into poverty after my divorce. Well, I was always poor. But dropping into it is, there's a twofold thing. Resources are kept from black people by the way we structure who gets it. They always find out what black people are bad at and make that a requirement. But the second thing that I really saw up close is how much money is spent, not just blocking black people, but creating black poverty directly. Paying people to be drug addicts. Paying people to be pathological. Even the blacks with the quote unquote good jobs, making sure it's the most selfish people, making sure it's the most um, mentally unstable people, so that the rest of the people say, hey, if that's who gets the jobs, I'm just gonna act like Aunt so and so or Uncle so and so. You see what I'm saying? This is what's happening in the black community, and it's a lot of money being spent. It's so much money being spent on promoting black pathology that you could just give us reparations, and you'd be probably spending half half the money that you're spending blocking and um, creating and supporting black pathology. That's how much money is being spent on it. Um, and we've gotten so accustomed to it, we don't even realize that that's what's happening. Most media analysis did not speak so directly of Norplant as key to stemming black reproduction. Instead, coded terminology such as inner city underclass, welfare mother, and urban poor was widely understood to denote black women. Young girls become pregnant because of a complex set of psychological pressures and the risk factors that a pill, a shot, or an implant capsule cannot address alone. Girls at risk tend to be poor, academically struggling, and naive about sex and reproduction. They are usually preyed upon and even raped by older men. Yet the Inquirer reduced the wrenching quandary of teen pregnancy to a matter of Norplant, for which it suggested welfare mothers, black women, received cash bribes. In 1991, Norplant fan David Duke, the Louisiana legislator and former KKK Grand Wizard, introduced legislation whereby women on welfare who agreed, to Norplant implantations, would be paid $100 annually, and other lawmakers have followed suit, offering birth control to poor women in a laudable goal, or is a laudable goal, but such schemes unduly entice them. I mean, I don't know really what $100. This must have been a long time ago, but even in the '80s, $100 a year, I don't know. But then again, Louisiana, Mississippi, a lot of those states, there's not a lot of money in the state flowing, so we don't know. The media and lawmakers debates all stressed. Oh, and before I go on, I think in the early 2020s, I didn't. It wasn't until then that I really realized how many older men were chasing these teenage girls. It was crazy, wild, and nobody really even seemed to care or chastise the men. That's when I knew our community pretty much was dead, because I think at least in New York City, that stuff was frowned upon when I was a teenager. And I'm talking about I was a teenager during the crack era, but that stuff was still frowned upon if you saw it. Um, Young girls become pregnant because of a complex set of psychological pressures and the risk factors that a pill, a shot, or an implanted capsule cannot address alone. Girls at risk tend to be poor. I've read that one already. The media and lawmakers debates all stress that Norplant is a safe contraceptive, but is it? According to a 1995 report in the Journal of Family and Practice, 95% of women in a large-scale trial of Norplant had at least one side effect. 80% suffered menstrual changes, 32% experienced weight gain. I saw a lot of that. 24% headaches, 16% mood changes, and 15% acne. Norplant is contraindicated for women with diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, a tendency towards blood clot, and acute liver dysfunction, all of which African American women develop and die from at a higher rate than do white women. Norplant is also contraindicated in women with breast cancer, a disease that kills African American women at rates up to 20% higher than white women. The mood swings and weight gain resulting from Norplant pose serious risks for African American women, who already suffer from the nation's highest rates of life-threatening obesity and more depressing and major depression. I'm sorry. Well, we have depression because our situations are depressing. In fact, the contraceptive's efficiency dropped from 99% to 92% in women who weigh more than 155 pounds because its dosage is calibrated for smaller women. Beyond the viewing of a videotape, physicians typically were not trained in Norplant insertion and removal, which is more often complicated by thick, overgrown keloid scars in Black women. We learned some lessons from Norplant, said Dr. Trent McKay, a reproductive health specialist at the National Institutes of Health in 2002. As it turned out, at least in some cases, removal was a difficult process. Such effects, we passed the 10, so we'll end here, and we're almost done. Probably one more lesson. So again, you have systems doing things to us, not even taking the time to think that we're different. We have a system making us unhealthy and then blaming us for being unhealthy. A lot of people who died from COVID had pre-existing conditions. We were heavy, obesity. Obesity is a really big problem in the Black community. Diabetes is a really big problem in the Black community. And some of it is our eating habits, but even our food it is become reckless, and that's everybody's food. So this is what we're living with in 2025. The eugenics movement is on. And I always tell people, and I tell Black people, and it doesn't, a lot of them don't like to be around me because they say I'm depressing because I'm reality based. But we're disappearing. Our babies are dying. I mean, literal babies. Mothers are dying in childbirth. We're dying in our teen years, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm 54, and I've lost 2 good friends already to health issues. As a teenager, I was losing friends to gun violence and drugs. So I'm not supposed to start losing friends until I'm in my 70s, 80s when you're like that, but I'm losing a lot of friends to health issues. I remember my ex-wife has lost some friends to health issues. And so we're dying at every age group, which means at some point our numbers are going to be down almost nothing. And if you look at American Blacks, this part of the diaspora will be gone soon. Maybe a generation, maybe 2, will be gone. If we don't wake up and come out of this funk that we're in, we don't come out of these delusions. I shouldn't say funk, but the delusions that we've embraced. And we have gotten to the point where we would rather let them kill us all to embrace a reality. And I don't know if that's going to change, but I'm going to do my part to try to push us back to reality. Until next time, have a good time. Try to be safe. Use this information in your life. Check out my websites. Check out my platforms. And I do create entertainment. I just put out 4 albums. I'm a lyricist, and I used an AI program to put out 4 albums. Check them out. Music is good. It's really good. It's really, really, really good. All different genres. Again, take care. Be safe. And let's just do better. Try. Do your best. Even if you have nothing, try your best to do better. And look, I was sleeping on the train, but I would never let anybody take my humanity away. Never. And I was making videos the whole time, making content the whole time, in the public libraries and things. So, come on. If I can do that with that, um, friends turning on me and everything, or at least disregarding, if I can do that, you can do it. It's not difficult. It's more difficult to stay pathological, believe it or not. It's more difficult to keep your delusion going at this point than to just embrace reality. It's not that bad. Talk to you next time.